Hello and welcome to Creatives Like Us, a podcast where we open up conversations about what it really means to build a creative career when you're Black or brown. I'm your host, brand and marketing graphic designer, Angela Lyons. In my guest episodes, I sit down with creatives who are out there doing the work, navigating the industries, and proving that there's space for all of us. Because the more we share, the more we see our stories out there, and the more we see ourselves reflected, and the more we realise we're not alone in this. Okay then, are you ready? Let's dive into today's episode. Peju, welcome to Creatives Like Us. Thank you for joining me today on one of the sunny, hottest days of the year. And you're looking gorgeous. Can you tell people who you are and what type of creative you are?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ange, for this wonderful opportunity to continue the relationship and conversation with creatives like us. I am Peju the Spark. I am a poetic speaker and a therapeutic wordsmith. Now, what is that? I feel like my mission is healing the world one stage at a time through the power of poetry infused with oratory.
Beautiful. I love that. What an introduction. Gosh, throughout this, somewhere in this episode, we're going to have a poem from you, okay? I'm just letting you know now. I've had poets before on the show, and they've just gone spontaneously giving me a poem, but I'm going to actually ask you to get one.
Let's do it.
I know you've got one up your sleeve. So tell me, how did you actually become a poet? What's the origin of your creativity?
It's a great question. And sometimes I say about these journeys, if there was a full answer, then it would cease to be the mystery that it is. And I feel like poetry and being poetic is mysterious at its core. But there are things that, you can follow some of the breadcrumbs, and part of those breadcrumbs lead me back to a time in my life when I was a preteen, exploring who I was, trying to figure out if my voice really mattered. I'm from a big family, a lot of loud voices, and I was quite shy as a child. And I feel like writing in journals became an invitation to be bold on paper. And it really helped me to hone the skill of creativity and creative writing and self-expression, and how wonderful words are when you put them together, when you break them apart, when you put them back together in a different way, when you assign them to do different things in a sentence. And I loved all of that. And I did really well in school in English language and composition and comprehension and creative writing. And I felt like I had a gift, but it was one of those things. It was like, it's just a thing in the background of my life. It's never the thing I can focus on. But focus on it I am, as I'm sure we will get to in the conversation, when it became apparent that there was more to this than just keeping it as a side hustle. So for me, poetry has become a re-invitation back to who I truly am. And that person emerged when I was a young girl, but I didn't quite know her or respect all of who she was. But now she's definitely taken center stage in my life.
Amazing. That is amazing. And you mentioned school, and might just touch on that, because I always think like to become to become a poet, you've got to have all the, I suppose, the right words. Is it the right words that you have, or is it just something that comes to heart, or something that you've picked up from your history, your heritage? What influences your poetry?
What influences my poetry is a mixture of pain and joy. And I think all of that is underpinned by curiosity. So I don't know if you also grew up in a culture where they would say curiosity killed the cat. Really try to douse the curiosity of young people, like, hey, what are you doing? Mind your own business. Stop looking there. Stop trying to figure this out. Just stay in your lane. And I've grown up to really see that curiosity is my superpower. And curiosity is a true connector of people and places and situations. And I would say underpinning my poetry is curiosity. I am curious about the world. I'm curious about people. And I notice I'm somebody who loves to observe. And growing up, I would look around and wonder, why is there so much poverty? And I would write about it. I would create poetry about it, because there were times when I just thought, I don't even know who to take these conversations or questions to. But my poetry books always invited me back on this, on the pages to ask, to question, to challenge, to wail, to be ecstatic,
Express it, yeah.
all of it was welcome. And I think that has been a journey that has continued. It's the creativity merged with curiosity that really invites me to notice, to question, to ask, and to write, try and work things out.
Yeah. In your day-to-day, and I know you are a poet, and I know you also run workshops where you help businesses and you facilitate in certain events. Is there anything where your poetry is tied into that?
Always.
Always? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples? That'd be great.
It's a USP.
Your USP, yeah.
Yes. When I'm invited to speak, to deliver a keynote, there's always this cheeky sense of, are you going to perform as well? And there's always something poetic that frames or emerges at the start or closes off at the end. And I think poetry for me, I'll give you an example. I was speaking at an event on Friday last week, a women's event, women in business and management. And the theme was on meaningful legacy. I did speak about legacy, and what I'm realizing about legacy that a lot of people need to understand is we think legacy is that thing that people say about me when I'm gone. And I feel really deeply that legacy is today. Part of what we're doing now is I'm getting a sense of your legacy, Ange, and you're getting a sense of my legacy in real time. This today, the here and the now. And so I did this opening about legacy and talking about the legacy of this platform that I was speaking on. They're celebrating 25 years. And it was very much, am I talking about this platform, or ladies, am I talking about you? Because as you're sitting here listening to me, as you're talking and having lunch with different women, they are experiencing your legacy. What legacy are you putting out?
Amazing. Mm-hmm.
And then after I'd done that intro, I did this performance of leadership, legacy, and limitation as a dance.
As a dance?
As a dance. So I invite them to this dance floor, and I love the surprise element where people are like, a dance floor?
Do you know what? Sometimes when I go to events and they tell people to get up and dance, I feel like I love dancing, don't get me wrong. But when it's like a business networking or like an event, I still get slight cringe. I'm like, I've got to get up and dance. No, leave me alone.
I didn't invite them to dance.
You didn't? Oh.
No.
Oh, phew.
No, I didn't invite anyone to dance.
That's so hilarious. So you got a bit of an insight of me. So people listening, right? If there's an event, don't ask me to dance.
Yes. I danced as I characterized leadership and legacy on stage.
Nice.
So that's where poetry came in. And then another event, an e-assessment conference, which was a couple of weeks back. I get given a title, and there's always poetry woven in. And I think what people say to me at the end is, I didn't see that coming. And I'm like, I like that you were surprised and you were serenaded, but you also could hear that I'm speaking truth to power.
Yes. I remember with creatives like us, when we had our first event last year in February, and you opened up the evening with a poem, and that was really special. And I got goosebumps because we'd created an event for, Black creatives to get together, and we made sure that it was, there was something for everybody there. And people came and spoke to you afterwards, didn't they? And I think they even bought your book, and it was just like, all of that. It's just like we just wanted to create that connection of people, and your poetry brought all of us together, present in the room right at the beginning, and you set the tone for the evening. So it's great. So thank you again for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really believe creatives are having a time and a season that is ripe for them. I really feel like the corporate sector, which I would depict as the big sister, has always looked down on little brother creativity and said, nah, go and do your fun thing over there. We're doing serious things here. And all of a sudden, big sister corporate is looking back at little brother creativity and saying, we need you.
Yeah, but do you not think, just sorry to interrupt you, but do you not think that's because of the human touch and the human element in it?
Absolutely. And corporate settings are becoming a bit more stifling, a bit more suffocating. Now we're being invited as creatives to come and say something, come and say the same thing, but in a different way. Come and perform a poem, come and bring your dance, what you do, come and talk about your culture, come and cook, because creativity belongs everywhere.
Yeah. Actually, going on to that, because I think that I've noticed a lot of people using, I don't know what you feel about AI at the moment, as an AI, with people using that, saying that that's creative. And I just think that is, but humans have fed that machine. I don't know what your take on it is.
I refer to Chimamanda Adichie, who is an incredible Nigerian author who wrote Purple Hibiscus and Half of a Yellow Sun.
Beautiful work, yeah.
She's amazing. And I watched a clip of her talking about AI. And she said something like, we are giving away our imagination when all we do creatively is, let me just go to ChatGPT. Let me just go to Claude. Even this morning, I was responding to a call out for speakers for an event at a girls' school close to where I live. And as I started writing, I was like, let me just put all of these thoughts into ChatGPT and see what it comes up with. And I sat there and I was like, you're not going to do that. Because before ChatGPT, you did all of this and you got work. People responded and were like, oh, I love how you speak, how you express yourself. Do not give your imagination and creativity away. Now, AI enhances. I feel like it does enhance. Sometimes I put in my bio and I say, can you make it a creative bio? Can you make it more of a media focused bio? It does its magic. It's great. But I feel like AI is more to enhance what is already within us, as opposed to it being the starting point.
Yeah.
When everything at the starting point is AI, we will lose so much of that. That wrestle as creatives, where you're wrestling through a project and you're wrestling through a brief, and that fuels you, that grows you, that pushes you forward. We can't give that away.
Yeah, cannot. And you're so interested about what you said about the when you're writing things, because again, I'd fallen into that habit of going, let me respond to this email, and then pressing a button on my Gmail and it auto responds for me, and I was like, oh my God, this is not me. But then it's starting to sound like me, and I'm like, no, I don't want this to sound to do this either. Another interesting point, actually, when it comes back to work, is that I listened to a podcast recently, and she was replying to a post on LinkedIn. And she said she noticed that a lot of the replies, there was a call out for work, and a lot of the replies were all AI bots, but she'd written it in her own tone, in her own voice. And they got back to her. And she was like being really personal, being her quirky self. And they got back to her. And it was just like, that just is so telling that, even as you said, AI is just the tool, but it can't be the creative tool, take our brain.
Yeah, exactly. I think, Ange, also what it does is, we then forget how deeply powerful we are as human beings. And we give all this, AI, whoa, it's amazing. And I think, but humans created them and prompted them. And so the minds behind these AI tools are amazing. And they're human. And what's within them, to a certain extent, is also within us. How do we keep honing what is within us so we're even more exceptional as human beings and not giving it all away?
Yeah, we're not giving it away. Exactly that. Thank you, Peju. Thank you for your insights there. I love that.
Yeah.
I always ask people, I think you touched on it before, about how you got into poetry, but was there anyone that inspired you? I call it the catalyst connection. Was there anyone who said, just go for this, like maybe of a project that you've been working on, maybe your book, and someone said, just go for it? Or have you always been just like, I'm going to do it anyway? No. No. So I just wanted to know about some people that have inspired you, or what the situation was, because I think, when people listen to podcasts, it's always touching to hear how people are inspired by others.
Yes, indeed.
And I think before we came on the call, we were talking about somebody who I've met recently, and how someone inspired her, and and it's just a thing that I just think that human connection again,
powerful.
Yeah,
so powerful. I don't know if you watch or your audience watch Britain's Got Talent. I don't watch it. I don't watch a lot of it.
I know of it. I used to watch it years ago. Now I just think, what is this?
But this last season or series, there was
Yeah.
a poet who got to the finals.
No way.
There was a wonderful man, a father, a husband
Oh,
who
wow.
I heard only he didn't go on to win or anything, but I heard his final piece, and it was beautiful. It was about his father. And I just thought, look at poetry taking center stage on a platform like Britain's Got Talent. Poetry is powerful. Poetry is mysterious. It is such a gift. But a lot of people have relegated it for far too long into that bracket of it's a side hustle.
Yeah.
It's a side hustle. It's what you do on the side. It's what you do for fun. It's what you do as a gift for family and friends. And yet 3 years ago, after I had poured a lot of my heart and soul into raising 3 children, into my marriage, and my youngest started secondary school, I heard this knock on the door of my heart saying, Peju, what makes your soul sing? And I was in my mid-40s and I was scared. And I thought, I'm doing really well. I'm an educator. I'm running my business. I have clients. It's all good. And yet I got this sense from within me that I was being invited to use my voice in a bigger way, to use my words in a bigger way. And I had to own up to, if I'm not even going to give myself permission to see if this could be a full-time thing. I'm in my mid-40s. When am I? If not now, when? When? And I just decided, you know what, with bated breath and fear in my heart, okay, let me see if there is something in this. Because for a long time while I was raising my kids, people would send me messages and say, can you speak at our leaders event? Can you write something for Women's Day? Can you write a poem for my father's birthday? Can you write something and perform at our wedding? And it was that thing that they would give me feedback. Like, it was great. It was amazing. It resonated with the audience. And I would pack it away nicely afterwards, put it back on the shelf and get back to work.
Yeah.
But 3 years ago, I felt like, Peju, you need to give this so much more than you're giving it now because you never know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And I did. And 3 years on, I'm here. I'm back with you. I mean, we've connected. The women I've connected with, the men, the platform,
people,
the
organizations. Look at that.
The countries I've performed in. I'm like,
the countries. Oh, wow. Tell me some countries you've been to. Where have you been?
So 2 months ago, I was in Malta performing to an international group of women from different parts of the world.
Amazing, Peju. That's so cool.
It was over 100 women in the audience. It was powerful. And I did this, again, I like to call them spoken word experiences. When people say, can you perform a poem? I'm like, I don't perform poetry. I invite you into a spoken word experience. And on the stage in Malta, I did something called the Women Who Rise Together. And you really embodied. We rose together as women and we roared, together as women. So that Malta was recently, 2 years ago, The Hague and Porto in Portugal. Last week or a week and a half ago, we were in Budapest. My husband was working there and I was working on my second book, which was great. Had the opportunity to do that. Maybe 2 years ago, we were in Dubai. Again,
wow, so you've been international.
Yeah.
You're an international speaker, Peju.
Definitely.
Could I put that in your bio?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Wow, that's so cool. I didn't know all this about you.
It would never have come to be if I had not said yes.
Yeah, it's true.
You see what I mean? 3 years ago, there was an invitation that I don't believe would have stayed in my lap for too long. The time would have gone. I would have changed. The season would have changed. What was happening would have changed. And I really feel like it was a crucial time of, I'm so scared, but I must do this.
Amazing. You mentioned you're writing, actually there was a few things you mentioned that I wanted to pick up on, but you mentioned future projects. So you're currently writing your second book. Can you tell us about your first maybe? And then also tell us about your second. And as we're here, I can see on your shelf that you have your poetry book, your first book. So maybe you can read from there or something that something that comes from the heart, whatever you feel like. That'd be amazing if you don't mind. So tell me about your first book and your second book coming up. please.
So the first book is called A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations. And when people ask me, oh, tell us, what was that spark that enabled you to publish a book? I say it wasn't a spark, it was pain. And the pain that led to publishing this book was having done so much work with young people when I was an educator, running my own business and preparing young people for big exams and for not so big exams and for writing dissertations in university. I was stunned by the level of negativity in their words about themselves. Miss, I can't do this. I'm too stupid. Miss, I'm not like this person. I'll never do it. I can't. I have no value. Just, I was stunned because I grew up in a society in Nigeria where we were told your words are powerful, so be careful what you say. And yet there were these people, young people, spewing out such negativity about them.
Can I ask them, were you in the UK at this time when you were in education?
Yes, now I was in the UK. But when I heard these words, I was growing up in Nigeria. And then working with women as well in parallel to educating young people. The women as well that I worked with, that I mentored, that I coached, super negative about the way they looked, the weight they carried or didn't carry, their hair, their relationships, their partners, their marriages, their life, their future. And I had an aha moment where I thought, realistically, your life is not going to change overnight. But if you begin to shift the way you talk about your life, things will change. Things will begin to reshape. So the first book, A Poetic Odyssey of Proclamations, is all about using language, your words, to reshape your reality with wisdom and hope and kindness.
Positive words.
Positive words about yourself, about your community, about others. And when you send out positive words, most often positivity returns.
It's true.
You is the gift.
I mean, people call it karma. There's other words for it, but it's something that, put good out in the world, good will come back to you. Put bad out in the world, something. Not that I'm the person to put that upon people, but we know that, good begets good.
Absolutely. And again, the book also has pages where you can journal, because again, what I'm realizing and what I realized when I started to make the pivot was we want quick fixes. So even for me, when I was going through coaching to rebrand myself, it was kind of like, give me the 3 points, the 3 steps, let me get on with it. And I'm glad they didn't. I had to wrestle. Again, it's that wrestling that you do with your inner self, with your inner mind, with your inner person, with your inner thoughts that really begins to birth your new reality. So inviting my readers to journal is me saying, my words changed my life. Let your words change your life. You journal. You start reshaping and testing with new language how you want to show up in this world. So that's the first book. And then the second book is a special book for young women. So I feel like I've been invited to a lot of stages and spaces to speak to female founders, female entrepreneurs, women flourishing in leadership. And now I want to backtrack and speak to the young girls who become these women.
Oh, wow. Get them early.
Yes. What do they need to hear about their identity, about their beauty, about their vision, about the world we live in, about true leadership, about self-pity, about mental health, about social media? I want to really write and speak to what is the world these girls, quite a complicated world, these young girls and young women are navigating. I want to give them language and opportunities to see things differently through a creative lens. So that is the next book that I'm working on.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing if you had a book launch and had some of the women read some of the poems.
Yes, indeed.
That'd be amazing.
Thank you. Okay.
Just giving you a little idea there.
Exactly.
Might this be a nice time to read a poem from your book? Or do you want to do it at the end, or would you like to do it now?
Let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
So I'm reading from the first book, and there's a poem there that I really love, and it's all about self-love. And I'm reading about self-love because I feel like so often we learn very early the power of loving other people. We learn to love our caregivers. We learn to love our parents. We learn to love our carers, our grandparents, our siblings. We learn to love our neighbor. We learn to love our friends. And there's not enough input into the joy, the need, the power of loving ourselves. And so I wrote self-love in my book. And a prelude to that is, in your shame, proclaim self-love. And I wanted that juxtaposition of shame and self-love because there's so many of us who struggle with shame. And we've just normalized it. Shame has become this thing on our shoulder that's always with us and is always going to be there. And no, it doesn't have to be there. When we fail and when we fall, self-love tells us we can flourish again. And shame just keeps us down. So I wanted to speak to that shame through self-love. And I've written this. Self-love. How do I love me? Let me count the ways. Not only on good days when I feel the sun's rays. I long to gaze at my current phase and express self-love with a powerful phrase. I am a beautiful blaze. This is my current craze as I navigate life's maze. Watch me dazzle and daze. I will amaze. My glorious reflection says that I love me in all ways till the end of my days, even as my hair glows with grays.
Wow. I love it. Thank you. Give me goosebumps. Thank you so much.
You're
And I
welcome.
love the delivery.
Thank you.
You are amazing, Peju. You're so amazing, so full of talent. It's just, I'm so glad you're on my podcast. Thank you so much. And I hope the listeners are listening and saying that this is amazing. You inspired them maybe to start some poetry, because that's another thing. Because sometimes you mentioned it's about the starting, and you mentioned journaling. Do you think that if someone wanted to start poetry, where would the best place to start be?
It's a good question. Journaling now has become a tool that a lot of creatives are taking into the marketplace for leaders. How do you pause? How do you capture your thoughts before you vomit all over your people? How do you observe and take notes? And I really believe, I say this often, reflection is not a luxury. It is a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Too many of us and a lot of young people who are watching us are not reflecting enough. We're going, it's like, okay, next thing, okay, next thing.
Quick. Fast.
And then how do you look back and give thanks? How do you look back and celebrate how you've grown? How do you look back and learn from mistakes? How do you look back and edit? If I did this differently, this would be the outcome, right? So even after I performed on Friday, I came home and there was a moment where I was like, oh, why did I not remember to do this? I could have done this. And I just thought, that's a gift for my next performance. And I wrote it down in my journal. So I would say journaling, even just as a wellness practice of getting your thoughts down on paper, is crucial. And then I would invite readers who are thinking of writing more poetry or becoming more creative, just start playing with words. Even making sense of the world. The world seems a little bit more volatile, a little bit more complicated. And we just sit with these things. We sit with so much trauma that we're sensing in the world. And we don't get better. And sometimes we feel so unwell because we don't put it anywhere else. Writing really frees you. It gets the words out of your system. You see them on paper. And sometimes when you see them on paper, they invite you to dialogue, but they're not cramping your mind. They're not crowding your mind. It's not filling your belly with weight and just negativity and whatever trauma that these situations can fill us with. Then you feel like you're able to dialogue with these words, with these situations, with these difficulties and challenges as a separate entity. No longer lodged in your system, but as a separate entity. So I would encourage everyone to get into the habit of writing.
And you don't have to have no fancy book or anything like that. It's just literally pick up. I mean, I love fancy notebooks, to be honest with you. And I love a nice pen. My friend Karen gave me a pen, and it's such a beautiful pen, so simple, but it's a lovely Pentel pen. And I love writing with it, and I put my thoughts down. And, it's just sometimes get something, if you want to do it, if you do journaling, I also say do something that you feel like you want to enjoy, like pick up a nice pen, a nice notebook. But you can start anywhere and just start.
Just start. And sometimes we feel we need so much to start with. And when people ask me about the root of the name Peju the Spark, what I say is a lot of people feel like, no, I need a fire before I can start anything exciting or anything transformational, anything that's going to change the world. I'm waiting for the fire. And I'm like, you only need a spark.
You only need that spark. It's true.
With the spark,
throw
it into the fire.
Yeah, 100%. It's true, It's true. Love that. And I love your name, Peju the Spark.
Thank you.
I was going to start. I know we're talking about your poetry but you also, as you mentioned, you go and speak. And just out of interest, how do you feel when you get up on stage? Do you feel nerves, or do you feel like I'm ready for this? Or do you have what you want to say prepared? Do you use slides? Is there any props you use, or do you just give us a bit of an insight? That'd be great.
It depends on the invitation. It depends on the stage, but it's always about preparation.
Yeah.
When I come off stage, some people are like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That's amazing. I'm like, I've done it 10 times in front of the mirror.
It's true. Yeah.
3 times in the shower.
Yeah.
I've done it 2 times walking to the station. I've sat in the train and I've done it over and over again. Done it in front of my husband. He's giving me feedback. My preparation is my power. I don't take it for granted where I get up on stage. If I've been invited, I have to do the work behind what I need to talk about. So it depends on the stage. I always do the preparation and I always feel the butterflies. Always. And I like it because I feel like the butterflies are telling me, you're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
You've not arrived. It's a different brief. It's a different audience. It's a different poem. And I like that. And I tend not to eat before I perform.
Interesting. Yeah. Same here, actually. Even doing podcasts, I feel because it's a bit of energy and I kind of get nervous energy. So I'll eat afterwards and I'll drink, have something proper to eat afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah. So water, I drink a lot of water. Now in menopause, I'm also developing dry mouth, which I didn't before.
Yeah.
So I'm sipping water, I'm drinking water. But I've also come to a point in this part of my journey as a performance poet where the nerves are not necessarily about, can I deliver? The nerves are now, who is this for?
Right.
Who in the audience needed to hear exactly what I just deposited in their spirit or soul or mind? I want to meet that person. So it's now different.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about this part of the journey.
Lovely. So I'm going to ask, I know we've got this book in the future. Is there anything else in the future that's coming up that you'd like to share with us?
So yes, of course. So I am also starting a range of postcards.
Amazing.
You know this.
Yes. I'm actually helping Peju with her postcards. I'm helping designing them. So we'll have a chat about that afterwards.
We'll have a chat. So when I do some of my performances or even I write some of my poems, I think, this line is crucial and really resonates. So as opposed to writing a book of poems, I think, why don't you write bold quotes that can go on postcards that people can just share with other people? So that's something that I'm keen to do over the summer, as well as writing the second book. And then I'm also realizing that I can't be everywhere at the same time. And part of the work that I do as I build this brand is I am the brand. My voice is the brand. My words are the brand. How do I leverage my lack of being able to be everywhere at the same time, doing everything all the time? It's not sustainable. And so what I would love to do is to do something online akin to a workshop of helping people to find their voice and to go on a journey of using their words as a force for good.
Yeah. Well, that's possible, 100% possible, because, the world we live in today, and you could reach, so many people, global audience in that. So you could easily do that.
Exactly.
Without having to travel.
Exactly.
100% you could do that.
So those things are coming up. Yeah. And I'm excited. I think breaking into the corporate sector was brilliant and it was great. I also love opportunities to speak to mothers and women and young
ladies. Yeah.
I just feel like there is something of joy in those spaces. There's something of a hunger for new language, of influence, for new expressions of what is it we are inviting women and young girls to be in this new space where we're like, yay, the feminist movement, yay, 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 we're empowering women and girls. And we can say all those things. If we don't prepare them well,
there's a gap there. I'm sure you will explore that, Peju, and I think you will do it well. And you've got, you've got the what's the word they call it? You've got you've got the props to back you up. You've got you've been working at it for years. So what's to stop you? And what's stop from helping? Especially as you said, the young ladies, and even young men. There are a generation that needs adult guidance at the moment. I don't know if you heard. Just on a side note, today I heard it's become law that they're banning mobile phones at school, and I just thought Peju just put a thumbs up, double thumbs up, and I just think. And then I read another thing this week. So I know I'm not attacking AI or tech, because I know we need it in life and at the moment. But I also read where 2-year-olds are staring at screens as a form of like entertainment, and now they're realizing, they've done studies that the 2-year-olds from babies to 2, that it's interfering with their development. I'm like, are they like, we could have told you that. You don't need a scientist to tell you that. Mothers could have told you that. Friends, parents could have told you that. And it's just, and I get it, sometimes they do it to keep children quiet. And I was even speaking to my daughter about it, and she said something like, I think you gave me like some pasta shells, Mum, to play with, or some books. Oh yeah, and I was like, yeah, and CBBC Octonauts. Do you remember? Just like I was like, do you remember the Octonauts? The books I used to give you. And I was like,
yes,
all of that sort of stuff, and it was just, it's just amazing that they're giving babies iPads and iPhones and sitting in a bug. Anyway, I'm not knocking that at all, because that's sort of. But what I was trying to get at is that I think some of this tech might be destroying some of the creativity, and also our mindset on how we see things in the world, and not everything is as polished and brilliant as we see on a screen. And
so true.
And I think that's another thing that we could talk to young ladies and young women about.
Absolutely. I think, we talk about the ban of mobile phones in secondary schools, and we talk about the impact of screens on young people. And I feel like so quickly we get a response from policymakers and leaders in different organizations, institutions, government, about how we need to protect the child, how we need to liberate the child, how we need to caution the child, how we need to empower the child. And I look at it from beyond this child, behind this child are caregivers. For a lot of these children, behind them is a father and a mother. Now, sometimes they're brought up in single parent homes. Notwithstanding, behind these children is an adult, is a parent who doesn't feel supported, who doesn't feel seen, who doesn't feel heard, who feels isolated, overwhelmed, anxious, maybe put down or judged. And a reason that my husband and I started our podcast, which, you can always look up, it's called the Jedi and the Spark Show. We started that podcast so we could say to parents, we could say to the adults in the family dynamic, we see you. And what you're doing is often a thankless task, but it is a triumphant task to be done. We celebrate and champion you because you're important in this dynamic. But nobody seems to be talking about the parents, except in a way we're dissing them, we're judging them.
Yeah.
Like, for children to flourish, hello, parents need to flourish, hello, marriages need to flourish, hello, families need to flourish. Can we look after, put our arms around the whole ecosystem and make sure each part is getting what it needs so we can all flourish.
That's true. Is there anything that you would like to ask me, or anything that you've feel like creatives like us the audience might want to hear, or is there anything?
I love that. I love that angle. You turning the script back on.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the vision. What was the impetus that got you to want to do a podcast for creatives, firstly, and then where's it going?
Interesting, because I've been doing the podcast now. We're currently coming up to the end of June 2026, and I've been doing the podcast since January 2025. And it's been, I've tried to keep it consistent because it's just me by myself. But the reason I started was because I wanted to. I don't know about you, but I listen to a lot of podcasts, and every time I open up my app, I was just seeing the same faces and nobody of color. And I also was thinking about. I've been thinking about it for a while, talking to creatives in the industry, because I hardly ever see them when I go out, when I go in the workplace. So it's more so when I was, working at agencies and being out and about in the offices. And also another reason was a friend of mine. She's a student, she's Black, and she was trying to decide what design course to go on. And she was trying to find some podcasts to get some advice. And she said she didn't find any Black podcasters in design. So I said, well, do you know what? Funny enough, I've been thinking about starting a podcast. So she was like, you should do it then. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should.
Awesome.
So that was kind of the main reason to do it. It's been great because I've spoken to a lot of guests. I've spoken to a lot of creatives I've spoken to poets. Actually, I'm my third poet so far, I think. I spoke to writers, designers, illustrators, coaches, painters. People in marketing. So it's been a nice mix of creative industries as such, because when you say creatives, people think, oh, you paint or you draw or you're a fashion designer. But creativity, comes from all industries. And as you said, even like from the corporates, we still have to be creative around that. So I did a few solo episodes too around design and branding. And but my majority of the podcast is around guests. And the future, coming up to the ends of season 3. So you're part of my season 3.
Oh, brilliant.
So thank you. And I'll pick it up again later on in the year to start season 4. But I have been debating this too, because I was like, do I want to continue? Should I continue? So, because it is, it's quite tricky. I'm now by myself doing it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I was doubting if I should continue with it. But I had, lots of people say that, I've been to events and people have said to me, I love your podcast, or I heard something on your podcast that really made me think, oh, I went and checked out that person and they really helped me. And I was just like, oh my God, this is why I do it. And then that kind of spurs me up again, and I get my chest goes all high again, and and I rave taller again, and I go, okay, I'm going to continue.
Brilliant. And Ange, what does it do for you?
What does it do for me? I love talking to people, and that's what it does for me. I love helping other people.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, financially, it'd be great if people earn me off the back of it and my marketing and, contact me. But my business is sponsoring the podcast. So that is how I'm making it work. So Lions Creative sponsors the podcast, which I should say out more often. But I don't. But yeah. But
brilliant.
Yeah. So that's what it does for me. It does for me that I'm helping people. I've always, I suppose, my brand values that I want to help. I always feel like one of my brand values has been kindness. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
And when you talked about the lady who said she couldn't find any podcasts with black-led podcasts about design or creativity, and you are on season 3, so you've spoken to quite a number of Black and brown creatives. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we working? Where are we creating? And how are we able to become more of a collective voice as creatives?
I mean, that was one of the reasons why we started Creatives Like Us and this event.
Exactly. And it's no more. So what's taking its place?
So it's not 100% no more.
Oh.
So when we said no more, it was more so the way that we delivered it. So like the workshop styles, I'm actually thinking, I wanted to, I don't think I'm going to, what's that again? I wanted to do something over the summer. And summer's not over yet, so it might happen still. It might be late summer, or I might bring it for Black History Month, where I was thinking of getting Creators Like Us together as not as a workshop style, but more of a come together collaboratively as over a dinner and conversations over supper. So it'd be a small group and maybe do a creative task within that supper environment.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just thinking. So, but then again, us too, as you know, that event space that we had, they're so supportive. I mean, the guy Paolo, he was so brilliant. He still emails me and says, "Are you coming back?" Like, he loved our group. And I've said, not at the moment, but you know, if he's offering, maybe we could do something there again.
Yeah, it's a lovely space.
It's a lovely event in an event space in Shoreditch, and us two are great. Again, thank you, us two, for helping us and sponsoring the venue for us and giving us that space. But yeah, it's not 100% over, and I also do some work with well, I'm going to see anyway, but I'll see. Fingers crossed, I might ask a sponsor to help us because I can tap into a sponsor at the moment who might be able to help us. Yeah, so we'll see.
And this space.
Yeah. It's great because I can tell you, I might as well say it over the podcast because it'd be great because I can apply for it. But it's Adobe, so they're sponsoring creatives because I'm an ambassador now. They sponsor gatherings and get-togethers, so I can actually apply for it. So if I applied for it, I'm just putting it out there. So I put the call out. There you go. I've said it.
There we go. It's out in here.
If anyone wants to come and help me put it together, that will be amazing. We can put a program together. That'd be amazing. So there you go. You've turned the tables on me. I've asked my ask. I think that's another thing we forget to ask if we need help. And there we go. I've put it out there.
And you've done that.
Thank you, Peju. You're welcome. So maybe next quarter you'll see Creatives Like Us come back as an event.
It was a lovely event. I remember that. With that lovely keynote speaker, Vanessa.
Yeah. So Vanessa, yeah, she's so she came back and helped us, became part of our team too. So she's amazing and still, you know, she's become a friend. I can't, you know, so yeah. That's what I mean. This is you see what we created.
I was just gonna say. You think you're going to an event and then you meet people who become friends.
Yeah, exactly. Actual friends that, you know, text you and check in on you. Like Vanessa checked in on me, Io checks in on me. Like we check on each other. It's just, you know, that's good. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It then becomes a platform that becomes community and people are thirsty.
They're thirsty community. Yeah, 100%. And that's the same with Creatives Like Us. When they said it was over, and I think I should apologise for ending it abruptly like that. We should have done it softly because people were just like, wow, what's going on? Like, there's nothing bad going on. It was just like, it takes a lot of the time to organise events. So maybe in a different way, as I said, we'll bring it back.
Super. Yeah. So all is not lost yet.
All is not lost. All is not lost. So let's get back to you, Peju, because we're going to round up. Thank you so much so far for all your insights. I always like to end on a quick fire question. Quick fire 5, I call it. It's one or the other. So crisp or chocolates?
Crisps.
Beach or forest?
Forest.
Book or Kindle?
Book.
A reggae or soul?
Soul.
Patty or a sandwich?
Patty.
Yes, thank you very much. That was a very quick fire 5 answers. Thank you so much for that. So, Peju, tell people how they can find you and how they can connect with you. And also, if they're interested in your book to buy it, where can they buy it? And I'll put all the links in the show notes, but it'd be great if you can tell us.
Super. I would love to connect with you. You can find my book on my website, which is pejuthespark.co.uk. You can also find it on Amazon. It's right there also. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I am Peju the Spark. And on Instagram, I am a slightly different name. I am Powerful Poetic Presence.
Brilliant.
And I'm on YouTube as well.
Oh, wow. You're everywhere. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Peju, for joining me today. It's been such a lovely conversation. I love the poetry too. And I hope you've inspired people to start journaling or starting their own poems and, just getting their thoughts out on paper because you never know where that leads you.
Yes, it's all about wellness. Poetry, I've discovered, is not just poetry, it's healing. And I really take that seriously. Poets are a type of healers that are needed in society. You have doctors, you have physios, you have counselors. Poets and creatives also bring a sense of healing back into society. So explore them, give them time and space, give them your ears, give them your hearts. They bring so much good.
Yeah.
So thank you for this time. It's been lovely to chat and good to be on Creatives Like Us.
Oh, thank you so much, Peju. Have a brilliant day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Creatives Like Us. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. That's how we build our communities and amplify our voices. You can find all the show notes and the links at lionscreative.co.uk podcast and connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'd love to see you there. Also, make my day if you can leave a review or comment in your listening platform choice. And it's really easy in Spotify. Leave it in the comments. Until next time, keep creating and keep supporting creatives like us. See you next time. Bye.